Decoding the Childcare Business, the Formation Part 2. In this podcast, we're going to discuss the formation as well as the importance of how you name your business, especially if you look forward into expanding, growing, and even exiting your program. Remember, on our first podcast on the formation in Part 1, we discussed whether you wanted to have a lifestyle business or a sellable asset. And there's a distinction between the two. When we discuss a home-based center, we discuss the licensing process, meaning that the license is not only attached to you personally, but also to the location that you're in. And that's very important to note, because let's say you move from one home to another home, you need to start the process all over again. In a center-based program, the license is attached to the center, the location you're in. The license is also attached to the business name. And as we go through the podcast today, I want to share with you the importance of being able to properly set yourself up, but also how important the naming structure needs to be. Illegal disclaimer. This presentation provides general education information only and should not be construed as legal, tax, or financial advice. Every business situation is unique, and the information presented here may not apply to your specific circumstances. Please consult with a qualified attorney before forming any business entity. Work with a licensed CPA or tax professional for tax planning and election. Speak with a financial planner regarding business credit and financial strategies. So let's dive right in. Your legal structure protects your assets. We've heard that already. Your legal structure protects your assets and optimizes your tax burden. But what is important for us as a childcare business, the protection is even more important because of the liability exposure. We are working with the most precious assets available in the world, children. We must protect the children. And we also understand that with that comes a great level of responsibility. So what are the various forms of business formations that take place? There is what is called the sole proprietorship. That's doing business as Mary Daycare Center, where you register yourself with your town at the town office and get a DBA. It still flows through your social security number. It's the simplest form of setup. No paperwork beyond your business license. There is still minimal paperwork that needs to be done. You must register with your town or municipality your business, doing business as. But aside from that, there's not a lot more paperwork that you need to do. The pass-through taxation goes to your personal return, and there's no liability protection. That's one of the things that we really want to be considerate of, is the liability protection. And the reason for that is that if you have a home, a business, and it's both the same, meaning Mary's home and Mary business, God forbid something happened that you're sued. It could be somebody walking on the sidewalk that slips and falls, and they want to sue you, and they want to sue your home. Therefore, there's no liability protection between you, the business, and the home. That's something to really be mindful of. The other one is the LLC. Is that one that is most recommended. It has strong liability protection, and it separates business from personal. For example, it could be Mary's home. However, the business can be called MCT Childcare Center. There is a separation between the home and the childcare center because it's a limited liability company. There's flexible tax treatment and professional credibility with parents and partners. So most of the time, if not every time, you're going to start with a for-profit childcare center under an LLC. An LLC is the one that's highly recommended. And then there is what is called an LLC S Corp. And you're like, wait a minute, do I have to do something different to get an S Corp? Actually, you do.
An LLC designation with an S Corp as tax optimization.
That means you start getting a salary. It reduces the self-employment tax. It requires payroll administration and CPA guidance. You must take a reasonable salary, and that salary must have all of the taxes applicable to it, the FICA, the Social Security tax. All of those things must also be included in your payroll tax system. Now, there's different payroll tax systems out there. Some of them you can do through an app, but I personally recommend for you to actually hire a payroll company. And there's many payroll companies for small, medium, and large firms that you can take advantage of. So I will price them out and compare where you are financially, what part of the journey you're in before deciding to go with just a known name. Because there are so many other options now in the payroll company that may better align with your business model and your income. But what it also does, they do all the filing for you. They submit all of the taxes on your behalf. And let me tell you, it really makes a difference because at the end of the year, there's certain forms that need to be submitted to the IRS, to your state and local municipality. There's also forms that need to be submitted every quarter. And you're already running a childcare business and you have parents, teachers, children. This is not something you want to take on. If you are able to outsource it, is what I found for me running my childcare program, one of the best decisions that I made. So as we go forward, I want to expand a little bit more on the LLC because it's going to have a lot to do with the way that you brand your business, the way that you grow your business, and you develop goodwill for your trademark. There is a hidden value of business age. And a lot of people overlook that. They say, Ms. Zuli, I don't have any income coming in. I don't have any real money right now. I'm just exploring the childcare business. I know that's ultimately what I want to do, but I don't want to spend the money on an LLC. I'll tell you that is the wrong approach. And the reason for that is that there is value for your LLC to be formed. It's like a child. It requires time to develop access to funding, access to banking, and also access to other opportunities and designations, whether you're trying to get an SBA loan or apply for a small business entity through the SBA. There are programs that would be available to you, but first your LLC must be active for a minimum of 12 months. If you go through the process of a DBA, a sole proprietorship, for a year, 2 years, look at all the time that you have spent positioning yourself to make the leap, but did not consider the LLC as a viable option. The foundation phase, there's about 3 months to establish your LLC. You got to form your LLC. The IRS gives you an EIN number. You can get a DUNS number and open a business bank account. And that's when the clock starts ticking, folks. The moment you get that EIN number, open up a bank account, even if you just keep $50 or $100 there, it is important to do that because you perfected your LLC by establishing it, getting an EIN number, and opening up a bank account. 3 to 6 months, you get initial credit building. You can start getting vendor accounts. You can apply for business credit cards. When you go for a conference about the childcare business, you can charge your business credit card for that and be able to separate your personal expenses from your startup expenses, which is very important. Months 6 through 12, your profile starts really coming through. You get a D&B Paydex score, which needs about 3 trade lines. What we mean by 3 trade lines, it needs credit, vendor. Let's say you decide to buy a computer through your business account. That's a trade line. Let's say you get a debit card. That's a trade line. Let's say you go ahead and you decide to investment in some type of furniture or trying to get equipment or a course or materials. Again, depending how you structure the expense, that could be a trade line. And you want to aim for an 80 plus score by paying early. So you want to develop the trade lines, you want to pay early, and you want to be sure that this trade line is being captured by D&B Paydex score. By doing that, your business starts gaining credibility. If you leverage that for other opportunities like opening a center-based program or buying a home base or a home for a home-based program, now you're starting to build credibility, which is important for grants and funding. There are grants specific for childcare or for training in the childcare industry or for staff development that you can capture. Within 12 to 24 months, you establish your business, qualify for higher limits, better financing terms, and lower insurance premiums. Let's say you have a home-based program and you decide that you're going to expand your home-based childcare center because you're going to provide transportation. You're going to pick up the children after school and bring them over to your home, or you're going to provide drop-off or pickup service, and you decide to purchase a van. You could have purchased a van because you're going to use it to purchase your snacks and your lunch for your school. Well, the van will go under your business name. That business then has another trade line, and you also are able to take advantage of a lower insurance and premiums because your LLC is established. The mistake that many people do is they think you need to have an open childcare center to then open an LLC. Like I shared with you before, it takes about 3 months to get your LLC established because not only do you have to form your LLC, but you also have to put it on periodicals for 3 months. So it's not a, let me sign up for an LLC, get an EIN number, and it's done. No, because it takes about 3 to 6 months for the newspaper to be out there naming you as a new birth of a business in your community, in your state. And during that time, your LLC is still not perfected. 70% of small business owners without a business checking account were denied loans. 70%. Imagine. Now you have the perfect location. You've listened to the podcast. You've gone through the checklist. You're ready to move forward with your business. And because you didn't take these steps early on, you realize that you're not able to obtain the necessary financing to get the equipment or to purchase the location or to sign a lease. These are very important things to consider. It takes 12 to 24 months to fully establish a strong business credit. That's a year to 2 years, which is a good amount of time for you to have your business plan ready, identify the place that you want to open your childcare center, make sure you have the necessary credential, understand the team structure that you need to be successful in launching your childcare business, to go into it with your eyes wide open. But by having the LLC already formed, you are able to take advantage of financing, about equipment, even vendors giving you credit to purchase materials, furniture. Is all based on the seasoning time that you have with your LLC. You cannot build a business credit retroactively. Start your LLC today, even if you won't open for 18 months, if you're really serious about committing. And we're going to have our next podcast talking about committing and what that look like. I'll give you some steps to take. But for now, understand that if you're seriously opening up a childcare business, you need to open up an LLC. Take the time to do it now. Open up a bank account, check with your credit union or local community bank, see what the fees are for a small business. Develop those relationships. Let them know what you're planning to do. Get it out there so you can be ready to take advantage of what's going to come next. So we got the LLC. You got to start before you're ready. That's right. When I opened my childcare business, I already had my LLC before I had the location. It was important for me to have that in place. Business credit needs seasoning. The clock starts when you form your LLC, not when you open your doors. So don't make the mistakes that many people do. They say, oh, I'm going to get the LLC now that I'm getting ready to open the doors, and lose all that time from being able to have your LLC season and take advantage of other programs, grants that are available for you. Protect your asset. Childcare is a high liability industry. Risk your home and savings. An LLC protects them. You have your family behind you, supporting you in this venture, but you also have your home that has your children and has your family You want to make sure that you have clear delineation between your business and your home in a way that protects you and carries out your mission and vision of opening a childcare business. Never mix your finances. Opening a checking account with your community bank or your local bank will save you a lot in fees. By being able to separate the expenses of your startup costs from your personal expenses, you're able to have clear control and also sets you up for opening up your own business and managing your business as you move forward. And that's very important because many mistakes come from commingling. Invest in experts. Start creating your team. If you don't have a CPA that can speak to you about how to best structure your finances, look at your bank account, make sure that you are allocating the right expenses, helps you understand what you can expense now, depreciation, then you do not have the right accountant. I had to move from an accountant that I was paying $20,000 a year, ended up with a huge tax liability because he was not forthcoming in helping me understand how I structure myself. Even with an MBA in finance, when you're running a business and you're putting a childcare program together and you have children and you have staffing and you have payroll and you have curriculum, there's a lot that goes in running a business. Running your finances is a full-time job. And it's important to understand that you have the right team in place. Start identifying your team now and make sure that your CPA is familiar and comfortable with small businesses. An attorney also is very important. Not all attorneys work in the same field. Just because you have a real estate attorney doesn't mean that they know contracts and childcare business. And I want you to be cognizant of that. The attorney that I had was amazing. He not only worked with me, and he worked with other schools, he worked with towns and municipalities, and was very familiar with contract law. Having the right attorney and the right accountant in your team is going to make the world of difference. Now let's talk about one of my favorite topics, naming your LLC. One of the things that is very important is that naming protects you personal and it protects your assets. We talked about an LLC. We already discussed how LLC separates your personal from your business. Now let's talk about how that corporate veil can be pierced. There's different ways to name your LLC, but one of the errors that has been made and many people make is to name their LLC after themselves. Jones Mary LLC. That is not a way to protect your personal assets from your liability. Let me explain. There was a gentleman that had a delivery trucking business. One time, his driver had a car accident and he was sued. He says, I don't understand why I'm being sued personally. My business is an LLC. And for this exercise, let's say his business was named William Johnson LLC. But he was also named William Johnson LLC. When it came to the courts decided that there was no difference between him as the LLC and him personally as the person. And therefore, the corporate veil was pierced. That's right. The corporate veil was pierced. So in order for you to properly protect yourself, naming your business is very important. Let me also give you another scenario. When I sold my companies, the first company that I sold, the person purchasing the business already had their own company. They had their own branding and they already had track record with their own branding. They didn't want to buy my name and my program. They wanted to buy the assets of the business. That means the location, the parents, and the contracts with the teachers. Because my business was set up as BBL South, doing business as Beyond Basic Learning, I was able to retain all of my goodwill, all of my trademark, and continue using it for my other schools that I continue to own without losing my trademark. Naming your childcare business is critically important for two reasons: your liability protection and your trademark and goodwill that increases in value over time. So, correct naming. ABC Childcare Service LLC clearly indicates separate legal entity status. personal asset protected from liability. Courts recognize and uphold the liability veil, like I share with you with the driver of the trucking business, establishes professional credibility, and demonstrate compliance with state laws. That's the correct naming. Improper naming. Mary's Daycare. Ambiguous legal status creates confusion. The liability veil may be pierced very easily. Again, like the example of the trucking example that I just gave you. Personal home and savings are at risk. Unprofessional appearance damages trust. Risk of administrative dissolution. So there you see, there are the proper ways of naming a childcare center and improper names of naming a childcare center. Protect your assets and build your brand. A proper LLC naming is the foundation of both legal protection and business success in childcare industry. So let me say that again. A proper LLC naming is the foundation of both legal protection and business success in the childcare industry. Establish your formal LLC name with proper designation. Register a memorable DBA for marketing excellence. Like I share with you, my DBA is Beyond Basic Learning, and that is what I registered and trademarked with the United States Patent Office. And by doing so, I have immediate recognition and trademark protection to secure your brand identity. It is important for you to file your trademark protection, and it will secure your brand identity. You can later take your brand and use it in developing courses, curriculum, opening other childcare programs. When I opened my second, third, and fourth childcare program, all of the various locations had an LLC that was distinct and separate from the first school I opened. However, all of them were able to use Beyond Basic Learning as the registered trademark. It was a process working with your attorney where you lend your DBA to the other entities so they collectively have one trademark, one branding, one name. We've covered a lot here, I know. And we have to take a moment to just exhale and consider where we are right now. Part 1, we talked a lot about home-based childcare center and center-based childcare center, and we went into capacity. In this podcast, we covered the LLC liability protection, the importance of why naming your structure creates the corporate identity, provides access to capital, and also develops goodwill. So take a screenshot of this slide and let me know, what does success look like for you in 5 years? What are you going to do now to determine your success in 5 years? Are you building for cash flow or for an eventual exit? If you're already an established childcare center, are you going to look at your formation, at your legal structure to determine how you want to exit the program? Are you going to partner with others that you found in your program that you can share in the profit and loss of your company? What's your honest risk tolerance? What is your family risk tolerance? How are you preparing yourself to go beyond the basics of learning, researching a childcare center to actually committing and putting in practice? What do you need? Who do you need in your team to succeed? Who is going to be that person in your team to succeed? Take a moment and reflect on those questions. When a program is intentionally designed to reflect each child's unique genius, it attracts a high-performing team and becomes a legacy worth sustaining. Choose your path with confidence. This is Zuleika Hines, Decoding the Childcare Business, and I can't wait to meet you.